And greetings and salutations, and we are live. I want to welcome you to another edition of Hot Topics. I am Pastor A. I am the host, one of the hosts, one of the captains of this ship. It's always good to be with you guys. It's Wednesday, it's 7 p.m., so you know it's time for Hot Topics. Do us a favor right now, like this, share this, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Let somebody know that you are watching Hot Topics, the hottest show on Wednesday night. We got a lot to talk about, and so let's just go ahead and bring on our cast of characters tonight. They are on. They are on, and they are ready to go. We got the whole gang here tonight. We got everybody, got Lottie Dottie and everybody here tonight. So we're gonna start with the gentleman who we haven't seen in a while. Want him to want to reintroduce the other brother of the show, light skinned that he may be, Mr. Brandon McCoy. Go ahead, say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Glad to be back. It's been a while.
And to Miss Nakisha, the redheaded one. Yes, fire. She brings the
Hey,
fire to the show. How you doing today?
I'm good. And yourself?
I am doing well. And hey, my co-host for life. Oh, I think we got a little echo. I don't know what that is. Oh yeah, we got some feedback going on. I don't know. Um, but nevertheless, we'll let her introduce herself in just a moment. We're gonna start with pandemic. We're gonna start with um, I'm gonna start with you, Miss Keisha. We talked about this last time you was on, so I want to talk about this for just a moment. Um, School, parenting. How's that going for you?
I quit. I'm ready for them to go back. It's a lot. Trying to do work life balance and make sure I give my children my undivided attention, along with assisting the teacher. It is a lot. So I'm ready. Just for them to go back, go somewhere because I ain't signed up for this. I ain't ready for this life. I just it's too much for me. I got four different levels, and none of them have patience for the computer, and I almost don't have no patience for the computer. So I'm ready for them to go back. I'm just ready.
So, I mean, what are you sensing? What is what's the hardest task that you feel that's going on right now?
Well, and I'm only going to speak for my household, but I think for me the hardest task is the teachers are being as flexible as possible, and but they still have instruction to do. So because my kindergartner doesn't really know how to operate a computer, I have to literally sit with him and help guide him through maneuvering certain screens or go to meetings or whatnot. So that's been one of the hardest tasks, and also with connection, for some apparent reason, we've been having a lag with internet, and connection issues. So it's been very um trying. I mean, we're working through it, but I still have a full-time job where I'm responsible for a whole administration. So granted, I have flexibility, but at any given time I can be asked to go into the office because that's just what my job requires. So it's very hard to maneuver that and be patient with him. So that's the struggle I've been having as a parent.
So you ready to go back? You ready for we talked about this before. You think, hey, has it been bad enough to say, well, maybe we should try to get the school back open?
Well, this is my honest approach, and you may agree with it, you may not, but at this point, because of this virus, there's still some unknown. So for me, I just feel like if we're following all the safety precautions, wearing a mask, telling the children we don't at any point you could catch this virus by going out the door, going into the store. So what's different from going to the store versus going to school? You're still within a crowd of people. So certain precautions set up in place, and I'm only speaking for me, I would be putting that risk factor out there because at this point, I can't do it by myself. And I feel like I'm failing my child simply because I don't know everything that he's supposed to be doing. And I know he's not getting all of the attention they're supposed to be getting if they were fully instructions in school. You're muted, Pastor.
Myself. You make an interesting point, and I think a lot of people will probably feel like you feel, honestly. Whether they want to admit it or not, I think a lot of people will feel that just based upon what's happening, based upon what's going on, based upon seeing how this is playing out, and how even though it's virtual, parents still need to be there. And the smaller your kid or the smaller your child, the more attention that person needs, the more one-on-one that they need. And a lot of parents, although they're home, I think they feel like they're still neglecting the child because they're home and they're working, so they still have to put a lot of their attention to work, and to have to try to balance that with a child and trying to make sure that they're being educated not just during school, but after school. I think it's just an interesting challenge. So I wanted to throw that out to you, because you're not just a parent, but you're a parent of multiple children. And I do respect your honesty of the fact that say, hey, listen, there's some risks out there, but just based upon not that you want to be negligent, not that you're just trying to get rid of your children, but you feel like you're hindering them because you're not able to give them the undivided attention needed for what they need for school. And so we're gonna bring the bishop back on. Hey Bishop. Uh-oh. You still having trouble?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. You got a little echo.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we're gonna try to work on your technical difficulty. I can't ask Brandon this question because guess what? He don't have any children. But uh, just Brandon, just as a person, based upon what Nikisha has said, what would you think if you did have a child? What would you think, just based upon the experiences that, as a youth pastor, I'm sure you've heard about listening to one of your parents. What what would be your goal? What would be your stance as it relates to wanting to go back at this point?
Yeah, I think she brings up a great point. I think ultimately it's kind of like a case by case thing, and I think that's something that should be considered maybe by the school board. If and when when they do open back up, kind of a case by case thing. If a parent is in a situation where they can help their kid and they can be there, and the homeschooling is not a big issue, then keep them there. But if you're in a situation where you got to go to work or you can't give them the attention they need, maybe it should be opened up for them on a limited basis, as far as how many kids are going to be allowed. She brings up a good point with, we're going other places, grocery store and things like that. So the risk is still there. So if we can put those safety measures in place, I'm probably a little bit more open to going back now. It's just really unpredictable. But I think, if we can slowly kind of get it back going, and like I said, the parents that can do what they need to do at home, have them do it. The parents that can't, send them to school, limited number of kids. That may be the best way to go, so that you don't, fill the school up, but also the parents that need the help can get it. I know it's been tough. I talked to a few of our parents, and it's been rough, for them. And I mean, I wish we could do something to help. I wish there was a way to alleviate some of the issues that the parents are having. But I'm hoping this all be over sooner rather than later, so that so that we can get back to some sense of normalcy, especially for the parents. I feel for the parents for sure. I definitely feel for them, especially the ones that are trying to work and do what they need to do and tend to their child. So, um,
And parents, if you
yeah, I'm
out
not
there,
really sure.
give us your honest take on the situation. I do feel, and we talked about this before. I do feel that a lot of the red tape could have or should have been cut out as it relates to churches, and because we try to help in a sense, and they talked about licenses and everything that you would need, and you can kind of do it under the table. Well, we wanted to do it the right way, and I do think that the school board dropped the ball as it relates to allowing other entities to get involved in this, because I really don't think that they were prepared to go this route. But if other organizations, nonprofit churches could have stepped in to assist, I think we will be in a better situation. Kim, you have two kids. One of them goes to school, one of them doesn't. How's it been? And do you think it's worth the risk of allowing your child to go back to school under various circumstances if it was necessary?
Well, I wanted to comment on what Brandon and Nikisha said about we go everywhere in measurements in place. The thing about it is there are measurements in place. However, everybody's not following them. And so like I go in places and people have on a mask, but their children don't have on a mask. So now when my child go to a classroom, they're confined. Like my child will know what to do, know how to conduct himself. Some of the parents are not dealing with their children to know what to do. So, and I have a child who's whatever they call it, where they're highly likely. He's one of those, he has asthma and a lot of other issues. So I guess I kind of see it a little different. I'm not concerned about him. I'm more so concerned about him being in that environment. And when we go in the store, we're in and out. So I'm with him. I can watch him. But if he's in the classroom and these kids are doing what they want to do, then that's a different type of story for me. That's just my opinion. So I get it. The thing is, measurements are in place, but everybody's not following them because it's not a mandated thing. And some of these parents come from homes like what the president say on TV. I don't have to, so they conduct themselves like we seen in on the news. Some of these high schools in the hallways, they just as packed. Some kids wearing masks, some kids are not. At least being home and going from place to place, I can kind of track how my child got it, where they got it from. But once they go to school, I know nothing. So I'm a little bit torn. I understand parents' feelings, but I'm kind of okay with it. And far as how is it going, if it was the other way around, Noah, my oldest had to go and not my youngest, I probably would be a little more whatever. But my oldest is home. That's the one I prefer to be home. And he's actually showing me a lot. When he's here by himself, he's more independent, more mature, and he kind of takes a little more initiative once I got that other one out of the way. So, so yeah, he's actually doing pretty good other than the shutdowns here and there. And I've kind of taught him how to not get himself worked up and discouraged about it. So we're doing okay. Things running as well as possible.
Did she say the other one out the way? Now that sounds like something I would say. And if I had said that, you get jump on me. But did she just call my precious boy the other one out the way?
Well,
We're gonna
I
talk
don't like to
about
call out my
we
children's names, even though most people know
we
them, and
we
I
we're
slipped
gonna
up and
talk about that on
said
the
one
commercial
name.
break.
Well, it's not as
We
bad as
gotta
when
we
I
gotta talk.
say it's not as bad as when I say the daddy. Um,
I'm just saying the other one, just the other one. Like
oh
I
God.
mean, like come on, we all know, he not the most, he got a
What's the
little
next
bad
topic,
now, but
guys? What's
you
the
don't have
next?
to. I'm just saying, guys. If I had to say that, I just start. We would have had to stop the show. We would have had to tune in next week. But mamas. Mamas. Yeah, okay, whatever.
Well, at
Uh,
least you know.
uh, you know what, guys? It's been an interesting week for our president. I don't know what's going on, but it's a lot of things that have happened and the Washington Post have been dropping some bombs today about our president, your president, 4+5. That's what, this is what happens when you allow Kimberly to have a show by herself. She's renamed them 4+5. It's not 45, it's just 4+5 now. But CNN broke some news today about a report by Bob Woodward, about an interview that he had with Mr. Nine several months ago. I want you guys to check it out, and I want to get your opinion on it. Here it is. Well, that's the cover of it, but here is the report. We're calling this "Play It Down."
Jamie, let's start with early February. This is when the president was telling the American people China is on top of this. There's little reason to worry, but.
So remember, for those of us from Watergate, Howard Baker, what did the president know and when did he know it? That's what Bob Woodward lays out in this book. And what we know is from Woodward's account that on January 28th, his national security advisor, Robert O'Brien, tells him in a top secret briefing, this is going to be the greatest threat of your presidency. At the same time, the president is, as you said, playing it down.
And so what was President Xi saying yesterday?
Well, we were talking mostly about the virus, and I think he's going to have it in good shape. But it's a very tricky situation.
Indeed,
it goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. The touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. People don't realize we lose 25,000, 30,000 people a year here. Who would ever think that, right?
I know. It's
pretty amazing. And then I say, well, is that the same thing? This is more deadly. This is 5 per. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. So this is deadly stuff. Now it's turning out it's not just old people, Bob. Just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just older.
Yeah, exactly.
Young people, to plenty of young people.
So
what's going on
give me a moment of talking to somebody, going through this with Fauci or somebody who kind of it caused a pivot in your mind, because it's clear just from what's on the public record that you went through a pivot on this to, oh my God, the gravity is almost inexplicable and unexplainable.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
because I don't want to create a panic.
The virus. They're working hard. Looks like by April, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true. But we're doing great in our country. China, I spoke with President Xi, and they're working very, very hard. And I think it's going to all work out fine. And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, that's a pretty good job we've done. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. Yes. And from our shores, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. Stay calm. It will go away. You know it is going away, and it will go away, and we're going to have a great victory.
So, back in February, we now know, many have asked, what did our leadership know? What did our government know? We now know that back in February, they knew how serious it was. President number 9 decided that the best strategy, Brandon, was to play it down to avoid panic. Let's not rock the boat. It's an election year. Let's not bring upon this mass panic. just listening to that interview from back in February and later in March, just all of the theories that he has downplayed as it relates to old people, as it relates to all the things, the need for masks. He talked about it being airborne, but he's downplayed the mask throughout this entire time. What are some of the things that come to your mind?
I think, firstly, we have to know that by the time he tells us something, you got to know that he already has known for quite some time. And we're seeing proof of that now. And I think there's a fine line between not wanting to cause a panic and also being dishonest with the people. And I think he was more so on the side of dishonesty, for the sake of trying to make it seem like he had this under control, when in reality he didn't. And for me, it makes him look even worse that he knew all this before he even told us, and he still wasn't able to take the measures to kind of get a hold of it. And it's just another example for me of why he's just incompetent. I'm going to downplay it. Well, there's one thing to downplay it publicly, but you weren't even putting safety measures in place so that we would be safe. So your actions were also downplaying it, not just what you were telling us, but you kind of drug it along and made us think that it wasn't whatever, when, sometimes the better thing to do as a leader is to be real with your people so that they can protect themselves. Not to downplay it, because then, everybody's kind of still loose about it and not taking all the precautionary measures. So I think it just kind of shows us once again that you really can't trust the guy.
So, Nikisha's strategy, we understand they're just, as parents, we keep things from our children to protect them, because we feel like we know what's best. But at some point, when things get to this level, as the tape show, even in March, and he kept saying in April, things would just disappear. He never talked about a strategy. Just really wanted to tell the people, just chill out, relax, it'll disappear. When you think about who we are in September, and we understand this interview was in February, which means he knew before then. So we're talking perhaps later in late 2019, early 2020. When we look at where we are right now, how do you feel about what we have gone through, what we have suffered through as a country, moving from 15 to almost 200,000? How does that make you feel as an American?
Well, for me, I feel annoyed. I'm angry the fact that he knew, which from who he is, it's kind of expected, but to be so blatantly and just have no care for human life, I just find it very disgusting. Not that I'm surprised, because in my mind and just doing my own research and paying attention to certain things, I kind of knew that something was hitting and we weren't being told. But I just feel like listening to the tape and who he is, there's no human decency about him. Like, people have lost their lives for no reason because there was nothing put in place. And the fact that you would downplay human lives shows how heartless you are. I mean, you're still downplaying it, and people are continuing to lose their lives because yet we still have nothing in place. And if you knew about this in November, December, sort of say, you could have put things in place, and maybe we would be in a way better proposition at this point. But for me, I don't think he cares, and if it doesn't affect him, it doesn't matter. So that's just my thing on that.
I don't think he's ever stopped downplaying
it. Yeah. I'm almost afraid to ask you, Kimberly, but when you just hear this, what comes to mind?
I'm going to be as nice as I can, okay, Pastor? Well, I stand on record saying what I've said and always said. They knew about this in December. They were not going to stop that Super Bowl. I've gone on record saying that. And that, I believe, that's what made it even more out of control, because people came from all over the world to attend the Super Bowl. So knowing that, and knowing that this guy knew that possibly in December, and we already know what he's all about, money, economy, things like that. I'm disgusted, and he's disgusting. That's how I feel about him. And I'm almost disgusted by anybody that's thinking about voting for him. I almost don't want you to speak to me. But with that being said, it does not shock me that he did it as a strategic measure. The thing about it is, he could have took the higher role and did it as a strategic measure, like Brandon said, put things in place so when it came out, to make it look good on his part, so it would help him politically. But instead, he took a strategic, selfish measure, which a real leader does not do. He did it to benefit him in every way that was benefit to him. Because the reason why I said I'm disgusted about people that vote for him, because I'm a firm believer, when a person show you who they are, believe them, and he's showing you who he is. He's not really interested in everybody's vote. He's just interested in a popular vote, because he didn't get that the last time. Or he's interested in certain people's vote. He's not interested in us's vote, because he could care less about us. The laws and the rules and the things that he do shows that he's not really worried about our kind of vote. He wants us to believe it. And the way he attacked women, he's not really interested in those kind of votes neither. And now he's still being strategic with it, because if you've been watching the news this week, this idiot came straight out and said,
You muted, Kim.
I didn't mute you. I didn't mute you. No, you muted. You muted.
I think they heard her.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so anyway, back to what I said. This idiot is still being strategic, because just the other day, number 9 said, listen to this, number 9 said, I'm not worried about it. Number 9 said, on the day right before November 3rd, something good is gonna happen. So he's worried about this vaccination now, which people have already told him, scientists have already said, it's not even gonna clear certain measures for another 2 or 3 months. But he's not worried about the people, because he could have done and started vaccination plan way back when he knew and we didn't know. But he wasn't concerned. He was only concerned about him, the selfishness of him, not the people. So again, we're on a track to vote for somebody who's showing us what he is. He showed us who he was when he ran the last time. He said, I could stand in the middle of the street in New York and shoot a gun and y'all still gonna vote for me. And what did we do? Still go vote for him, still put him in. So I really don't know what it's gonna take for the people of this country, if we put this man back in place, to just have enough self-respect and dignity for ourselves. We talking about respecting the flag. We might as well just throw the flag up and let Russia or somebody have it, or swap flags with Russia, because it's no self-respect for the country or the flag if we put this man back in place.
Now, you mentioned the Super Bowl, and you've been talking about this, Brent. Do you think, because Trump has had a very tumultuous relationship with the NFL, with what you're saying, it would be as if he was in cahoots with the NFL about really having this Super Bowl? Do you really think that was the case?
Absolutely, I do. Without hesitation, I do, because it's all a part of the old good old boy network. He wanted to be a part of them. They rejected him, so he does. He helped. I believe he helped this man. What the Patriots owner name? He helped him out in his little situation. It was all up there in Mar-a-Lago. He probably was up there getting a happy ending too. They just left him out because he the president. So yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly and firmly. They all in a circle together. They're all in a circle together, and that's what he do. Look at all the people he's parting, all the people he talk about. He get mad and he come and parting them. People go to jail for stupid stuff. These people doing these high end crimes, and he let them off the hook, or he parting them, or he talk about parting them before they look out for each other. That's what they do. And he probably got something, some kickback from some Super Bowl or something, or some of his friends promised him something. So yeah, I believe that.
But why?
He was at the game, right? If I remember right.
Nah, because he knew what was out there.
I don't recall if he was at the game.
I remember him. I remember him being on a football field. Maybe that was a college game. He was.
Yeah, that was the college game.
I don't know if he was in the NFL.
Okay.
No, we're not shouting out the Keep It Real ministry. Keep It Real ministry is gonna get us off the air. Did you see how social media muted her when you can't?
You know, the thing is, man, he talks about he wanted to play it down, right?
Right.
But here is what I would have done. Okay, if you want to play it down, okay, play it down in the sense that, you know, don't cause a panic. Don't really say exactly how bad it is, right? But start to put safety measures in place. Like, listen, we're still early on. Right, it's still early on. We're going to start putting these measures in place so that we can get ahead of this. We're just kind of projecting. It's not as bad, you know, it's not too bad right now, but let's put some measures in place. He didn't do
like
that.
A hurricane. He just played it down play it down like a hurricane.
Right.
You know a storm is out there. Right.
We panicked more for a hurricane than we did a global pandemic. As you said, even though you knew you were behind, put these things in place to your people to say we want to try to get ahead of it. Because here's the situation. When you have his platform, and this is why platforms are dangerous.
Yes.
Because when you have this platform, the people are going to follow your lead. And because he downplayed it to the governors. The governors downplayed it to the mayors, and the mayors downplayed it to the constituents. And so now the whole country is following your lead, thinking you legit when you haven't given them the entire playbook. And so now here we are. Go ahead.
You know what I just thought about? This is the guy who said that this was a hoax that the Democrats sent.
Right.
He's lying about downplaying it. So that lets you know he's lying about downplaying
it. He called it a hoax. He called it a hoax that the Democrats sent, already knowing what he knew.
That's why, you know, again, when a person show you who they are, believe them. So again, I just have minimum respect for people that's still on his bandwagon. It's not even about Biden. It's not even about anybody. I mean, at this point, Joe the Plumber could run, and I'm voting for Joe the Plumber because this guy is just showing you that it's a blatant disrespect for people. He's a narcissist. He's self-centered. He will go to no ends to get what he wants. And him downplaying it was playing into nothing but his agenda. He wanted to build it up when he wanted to build it up so he could come in looking like the great savior. Remember when he first wore a mask, he told y'all who he looked like, the Lone Ranger. That's what he wanted to be, the Lone Ranger. In his mind, even though the Lone Ranger mask was worn over his eyes, he was too stupid to know that. But I'm just saying, he want to be the great savior of everything. So he plays everything into his hand, and he was looking to be the savior on the tail end of this in March and April when it was supposed to fade away. When he was firing the CDC and dismissing people that's been studying this kind of stuff for years. Just a blatant disrespect for people's profession just to push your own agenda. That is a dangerous person. He's worse than a snake. He's scum. It makes no sense. He's lower than a snake.
And knowing, you know, it very rarely do we get to look at life and rewind, you know. And then, you know, the saying is true, hindsight is 20/20. So knowing what we know and how he casually did this interview, and as Brandon said, knowing what he said to this man in February and all of the stuff that he has said since then lets me know that this is despicable. This is despicable. And when you think about, I'm gonna go to the rewind button. Not that. I want to. No, I'm trying to pull up something. But he tweeted years ago with Obama about how poor of a job he was doing with the Ebola virus.
That tweet aged well.
And how he should resign. He said, and God, I wanted to put the tweet up. He said that Obama should resign for how bad he was doing. And I think maybe 9 people had died. You know, a very small number of people have died. And he said that he should resign because of the way his administration. Then he came back again, I think, with the Zika outbreak a few years later, and he said the same thing. And to know what he said in February and to know what he has done, I mean, for anybody, again, I'm with Kim on this one. This is not a Democratic or Republican. This is an American issue.
Right.
But the guy don't know America. Like, remember, he didn't know Puerto Rico belonged to him. The guy don't know America. He think he's Russian or from Putin's land or somewhere. He don't know. But on top of that, remember when you knew what you knew about it being airborne. You knew how deadly it could be. And when the mayors and the governors were stepping up and asking for stuff, you degraded them people. Oh, they exaggerating. Oh, they don't need all of that. Oh, it's under control. You dismissed the people. And you knew what you knew. So you say he downplayed it to them. He might have told them the full thing, but he wanted them to handle it his way. And that may have been what made him mad when Cuomo didn't handle it his way, when other mayors didn't handle it his way. Those are the ones he dismissed. They even, the guy that just quit, that used to work for him, was saying that people was asking and requesting for certain supplies, and because he didn't want them to handle it that way or want them to make it what it really was, he was denying their material, denying their supplies. You see mayors are telling you that now, mostly female mayors, mostly Democratic mayors, but he was denying equipment and material. He was saying because they're over exaggerating, they're making stuff seem bigger than what it was. And this was during the middle of the pandemic, and you knew this was happening. I'm just gonna say from December, not even February. You knew this stuff was happening. And again, you still wanted people to, you such a narcissist, you wanted to control how people handle it. Like still handle it your way. Even though people's families are dying, they're in the grave. People didn't get a chance to see their loved ones die. They was putting people in trailers in New York. People never got to say goodbye. And you that cold-hearted of a person that you just didn't even care. And it still don't matter. He still didn't acknowledge. He probably mad at his wife because she acknowledged the deaths of the people. As a president, he haven't acknowledged these people dying yet. And you the leader of this country. It's just a blatant disrespect, man.
And but not just that. Almost lost my train of thought. It's not even just that. It is just the fact of all the things that have just happened since this time and how casually he spoke to this guy. I mean, do we see how casually he spoke to him with no regard?
Yeah.
Because the guy knew who he is. He's comfortable with it. Okay? And I think I've been telling you, it's disgusting to me of the people that support him, because you got some other stuff he said this week about the military and the things like that, which he denied saying. And Pompeo, I ain't gonna even call the man no name. Pompeo, talking about he trying to downgrade. They try to downgrade everything the man say. And he comes and say, oh, the stuff they're saying about this president, it's not even in his vocabulary. The language they're saying he used is so unlike him. But the very next day, he called Biden stupid and other names. But then you degrade yourself and put your political career and your everything out there to talk and try to make him do right. And he refused. He won't even say, well, let me do right for the sake of these people standing up for me. He don't care. And another reason why he don't care, because he was saying long time ago, he not worried about the virus, because anybody that want to meet with him have to be tested. Every last one of his family members was getting tested. So he wasn't worried about me. He wasn't worried about my children. He wasn't worried about none of y'all. He was pushing these children to go back to school because he wasn't worried. But he admitted he wouldn't send his kid back to school. And the rest of them admitted the same thing too. So I don't know to what extent a person has to show you that they don't care about you. I just don't understand. This man has done everything in his power to show he does not care about us as a people.
Let's not get this twisted. We understand very clearly. Throughout his presidency, he has been touting these numbers of job growth and economy. Now, anybody that knows anything about the economy know that, especially your first couple of years, your numbers are going to reflect the previous administration. We all know that. That's just simple math. Okay, you're not gonna get in office and snap your fingers and just change the economy. It's like turning a ship. It takes some time. So he's been touting Obama's numbers, and he knew that to shut the country down, he was going to then have to be responsible for rebuilding back up the economy. And so his biggest thing that he was touting was going to go in the tank, which is in the tank now. Now he's just touting his own failure, saying, oh, million job growth. Yeah, you had a million job growth, but you're still 18 million short of where we were before the pandemic. So now he's just touting his own failure at this point. And it all comes back down to, as Kim said, it's a money game. It's a numbers game. He understood that, Republicans and, his bigwig business friends, they like to hear the economy is doing well. And this pandemic was not going to allow the economy to do well. So he held it off as long as he could. And unfortunately, hundreds of thousands of people have died. And now millions of people have lost their job because of it. But
he's still not doing nothing to turn it around, because the other day he got mad at the reporter for wearing a mask. Remember, just the other day he told him, why you have that mask on? Like, this man, and he's still not doing anything. He don't even want to be in the presence of people that's trying to protect or save a life. Again, because he's gonna get tested, his family gonna get tested, everybody around him gonna get tested. So he's still not trying to be the bigger person. So to me, he's still downplaying it. He's saying he not, but he's still downplaying it. He told y'all he not gonna upplay it until November 3rd, when supposedly a vaccination is. He told the people that on that great day. You guys know what that day is. He telling y'all that.
Now, Brandon, speaking of which, I try we try to be apolitical. We try to say that, hey, we understand that no party is great, Democrat or Republican. But, for a long time, we've been trying to figure out why black people like this guy, not Republican, but just follow this guy. So there was something else that came from this interview. This guy, Bob, asked Trump a whole lot of questions. He began to ask Trump about white privilege and how he feels that affects the African-American community. And I want you to hear what he said.
Yeah, I mean, we share one thing in common. We're white, privileged, my father was a lawyer and a judge in Illinois, and we know what your dad did. And do you have any sense that privilege has isolated and put you in a cave to a certain extent, as it put me and I think lots of white privileged people in a cave, and that we have to work our way out of it to understand the anger and the pain particularly black people feel in this country?
You really drank the Kool-Aid, didn't you? Listen to you. Wow. No, I don't feel that at all. All right, let's discuss what we just heard with the mayor of Atlanta.
So,
did you drink Kool-Aid?
when it comes to, when it comes to white privilege, when it comes to, hey, he said, brother, you've been drinking that Kool-Aid, man. So you really do believe I'm supposed to care about these Negroes? That, Brandon, we got some people that, we got some people that look like us that, go Trump. He's done so much for the black community. But then when he's off the record, supposedly, when he doesn't have the cameras on and he's asked about his so-called privilege, Nikisha, he said, he asked the brother, listen at you, like you're talking all for the people, man. You drinking that Kool-Aid, I see. You really believe some of this stuff I'm talking. What?
Oh God.
What do you, I mean, what do you, how do you feel? We're not gonna let somebody on this panel talk because we probably will get kicked off, and we will probably we will not have a social media page at all. So
I mean,
Nikisha,
I don't want to comment. All I want to say is I'm black, my children black, and we don't drink no Kool-Aid. So if that was your
I don't
insult
drink it
towards
either.
black America, we don't drink no Kool-Aid, okay? I barely even drink Powerade or whatever them other little aids and them little sippy things that them churn drink, Mr. President. Okay, I probably drink what you drink. Maybe Barron drink Kool-Aid. So if that was your insult towards black people, me and my little black churn don't drink no Kool-Aid. Carry on, Pastor.
Thoughts, views of hot topics,
Kool-Aid.
and does not reflect any of us, our employee status, none of that. Okay, she ain't got no job, so she ain't got nothing. Nikisha, what? We're not even talking about the Kool-Aid comment. Boy, I'm choking, man. What? I mean, just to hear, it's interesting to hear how people really feel about certain things. Because, again, he's been touting, he's made African Americans believe that he said, and I quote, he's been the best president for African Americans since Abraham Lincoln, who freed the slaves. That's what he said about his record on African Americans. But then in this phone conversation, this is what we get. What are we saying?
I have no idea. Listen, sometimes I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to come out and be like, y'all punk, because like you can't make this stuff up. I don't know. I saw a picture with President Trump in the middle, surrounded by a variety of different African Americans, and I still don't understand how his following is so heavy. I don't get it. Like, even with this statement, he's telling you exactly how he feels, and you guys, are you not reading between the lines? Like, what are we missing? I really have no words for it. I'm really, really baffled by the disconnect that our people have and the connection that they have with him. Like, I'm at a loss of words.
I mean, Brandy, you've been noted on your page to really try to highlight white privilege. You talked about on this show about books that white men have written about white privilege and how you have to come to that realization that it exists. Number one, in order to change something, you have to admit that it exists. And you talked about it from a racial standpoint, and you've also talked about it from a law enforcement standpoint. So when you hear him say something like this, drinking the Kool-Aid as if he's been brainwashed, or we're being brainwashed to believe that white privilege exists, how do you feel about that?
Or blackwashed, I guess, for the sake of this conversation.
Right.
His comments really just confirm for me what I know about him. And his followers will convince you that, oh, he's not racist. It's Trump. There's no way. And it's almost like if you don't just come out and say you're racist, they'll just say you're not racist. But nobody just don't come out And you know,
Right.
very rarely does someone just come out and say, well, I don't like black people. They're not just gonna come out and say it. You have to watch their patterns. You have to watch what they support. You have to look at the you know, where they putting their money. What are they saying? What are they not saying? Sometimes what they're not saying is just as important as what they are saying. And I think he is just the typical white person that is in denial about white privilege. I have had people try to convince me that white privilege is not a thing, that systematic racism is not a thing. And I have to, you know, school them. Like, you clearly don't know what is going on. You've been in a box. You've been in a cave. Okay. And, you know, I'm not shocked by his comments. I'm not shocked that he doesn't think that he's been privileged. I'm not shocked that he doesn't think that white privilege exists, because you see it with everything that he does and says. And, you know, my question to people is, well, you say he's not racist. You're saying, well, what has he spoken up about as it relates to black people, for the betterment of black people? What has he spoken? Not, you know, has he done this? Has he signed this? But no, what has he spoken up about that tells you that he values the black life? He hasn't. And even some of the hot topic situations that have happened in this country and this and that, a lot of the ones that were clearly a problem, George Floyd, for instance, even that, which mostly everybody agreed was wrong, he didn't come out and take a hard stance on that either. You know, kind of, you know, walking the line. No,
always playing the middle.
Always playing the middle. And continuously, he just shows you what and who he cares about. And the fact that, you know, his response was, you're drinking the Kool-Aid and, you know, there's no such thing as white privilege. I'm not shocked. He's, you know, so many people are walking around with this privilege and they don't even realize that they have this privilege. And that's the issue. It's not until you realize that you as a white person have a actual privilege, it's not until you realize that it exists that you'll do anything about it. And so I'm not surprised at all. It plays right into who we know he is, what he showed us. It all lines up. And all of his followers and supporters who will swear you down that he is just as for black people as anyone else, you can miss me with that. I won't be convinced. I've seen too much. I'm not an idiot. Like, I've seen what he said. I've seen what he hasn't said. And, you know, it makes you question some of the people that follow him. It makes you question. Right. Either you're just ignorant or, you know, you align with him somehow. And I raised this question to someone a few weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for an answer. Hopefully I'll get the answer. You know, they swear you down that Trump is not racist and that all of his followers are not racist, right? But my question was, it appears to me as though all of the racists support Trump. So they see something in him that aligns with their belief.
Absolutely.
So what is it that they see in him that makes them want to so openly support him? But you're telling me he's not racist. So what are they seeing in him, okay, that makes them want to support him? I haven't seen openly racist, you know, person that supports Biden. All these people we see who are clearly racist, they all support Trump. So what is it about him that, you know, that they see in him?
And he don't denounce them either.
And he don't denounce them either. Remember, he said about the people in, what was it, Charlottesville, I think I can't remember, but
Charlottesville,
some good people, you know, there were some good people there, you know. There's good people on both sides. Well, I didn't hear you say that about, you know, any Black Lives Matter movements or you know. So they see something in him, okay? They see something in him that makes them want to support him, you know, and that tells me a lot about him.
And this whole white privilege, it's amazing to me how we can acknowledge all the other privileges. We understand economic privilege. We understand positional privilege. We understand privilege that comes with you being an athlete or a celebrity. We can all understand and recognize that. But for some reason, America has a problem with accepting and admitting to white privilege. And white privilege is just basically if two people walk in a room, neither one of them are anything. You don't know any one of them from Joe Blow. One is black, one is white. The white person is going to get the attention, and the black person is going to be neglected. That's white privilege. That's what that means. And for some reason, it's hard for certain people to even admit that. And that's the danger. That's the danger. That is the danger in which the country in which we live in, because if we haven't even arrived to that point yet, with all of the progress we've been told we are making, and in 2020, if that's still a struggle to even say that other people matter too, then maybe we're not as far as we have been told we are.
And
that's the thing that scares me.
And there's a lot of reasons why certain people won't acknowledge white privilege, but here are the two prevailing reasons. Here are the main two reasons, and this is, something that I formulated in reading and researching this stuff. One, it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for anyone to admit that, that they have a privilege over someone else. Or mainly, the second thing is that admitting that there's white privilege would make white people suggest that some of the stuff they have, they didn't earn. That some of the positions that they have, that some of the money that they have, that some of the jobs that they have, they really didn't earn it. It was opportunity presented to them because of what they look like. So for someone to have to look in the mirror and say, you're a CEO or you're a millionaire, but you didn't earn that per se, you got it because you were white. It's hard for people to admit that. It's hard for people to look in the mirror and say, maybe I didn't earn all this. Maybe I was privileged. And a lot of people won't ever admit that.
Of course not.
Wow.
That's
Kimberly,
good.
white privilege. You never been white, but why is it so hard for people to admit that it even exists? Forget about the benefits of it, but to just admit it exists.
I really don't have much to say because I just don't have much to say. But all I can say is I guess they think they gave us a privilege when they gave us the right, or we earned the right to vote. They gave us a privilege when we got to drink out the
vote.
Yeah. Well, we didn't earn it when they gave us the right to vote, they think. I guess they think that white privilege went out the window when they allowed us to drink out of the water fountain. They gave us a privilege when we could go to their schools and do anything that we couldn't do when they were in control of us. If we could do it now, I guess kudos. That's where we get our privilege from, and they feel like we should stop while we're ahead, and that's it. Basically, I feel like if you white privilege, that's how you feel about the black race. If you can't say Black Lives Matter, then I believe that you feel like you showed us Black Lives Matter when you allowed our ancestors to vote, when we were able to now sit at the front of the bus, when we are able to walk into a restaurant. I think every time we come in, you want us to come in like this, applauding you for allowing us to do such a thing. I mean, that's to the extent that it really is. And they feel like that's where we should draw the line. So if you now can walk into a restaurant, you need to be quiet. That's pretty much how they treat white privileged people treat blacks. So, and like Brandon said, something about they would have to acknowledge that they didn't get what they earn, what they really got. Well, it's a lot of times that me as a black young educated woman have to acknowledge that I didn't really earn what I got, but I don't go around faulting other people. I call it favor. Okay, so they need to find another and I'm proud of the favor that's on my life. So they need to find another way to speak for what they got instead of putting it back on us. And when I recognize the faith of God, I don't go hating on the other man or the brother man. I just tell God, thank you, and I keep on moving. It's no sense for me to insult and degrade people. So to me, it's deeper than that. It's so rooted. That white privilege, that behavior that they carry, it's an innate, rooted issue that some of these people, I don't think counseling can ever get them past. They're just never going to get past. And the further up blacks go, like Kamala Harris and some of these other blacks, Keisha Lance Bottom, and some of these other blacks, specifically I'm speaking about women, they're going to get worse and worse and more intimidated. That's why Trump came out making a statement about if she become president. He issued a statement today. He not even attacking Biden no more. He immediately jumped on the bandwagon of attacking this black woman. He's more intimidated by her because it's, first of all, it's a masculine thing for a man. A woman shouldn't do this. And now a black woman, he's more intimidated by that.
It's interesting, not to make this a Black History show, but it's interesting, and you really said something powerful. Most of the things that blacks had, we've been quote unquote allowed. NFL, when we hear about black accomplishments, we hear a couple of things. We hear the first black. We're still hearing that in 2020, the first black. And we're still hearing the word allowed. When blacks were allowed to drink from a water fountain, when they were allowed to play quarterback in the NFL, when they were allowed to be a president. We hear that word allowed attached to blacks. We don't hear it. We don't hear it attached to no other race.
Right. Here's another word. The other word on that same token is integrate. Anything you got to integrate was never meant for you originally.
Correct.
Wow.
We had to integrate Major League Baseball. We had to integrate schools. We had to integrate colleges. We had to integrate, all these other leagues and all the others. If you got to integrate it, it was never meant for you.
Absolutely.
Wow. And it just seems as if we don't recognize that.
Because a lot of white people are under the impression, and I won't say a lot, but I'll say many of them are under the impression that when black people became free, everything became equal.
It was
and
enough.
That's just not
yeah.
And that's the case. And for those of you who kind of like history and stuff like that, you need to get the book. It's called Freedom Is Not Enough.
I was going to say, when did we become free? Yeah.
And it's Freedom Is Not Enough, and it was based upon a report that someone who was in LBJ's cabinet, Moynihan. Look up the Moynihan report, and it's a report that he did that showed the disparities in black families and black life, and how much harder life was for them after they had already became free. And how systematically things didn't line up and measure up. And that, that's why it's named, and the book is by James T. Patterson, but the report was originally done by a guy named Moynihan, who was in LBJ's on Lyndon B. Johnson's staff. And that's what a lot of people have to get. Freedom is not enough. Freedom is not enough when you're free, but there's systems in place to still oppress you. Okay. And a lot of people think that, you're free now. Someone told me a couple weeks ago, this country isn't racist. We had a black president, and my smoke came out of my ears because I couldn't believe that they thought that just because we've had a black president that racism doesn't still exist.
And they treat him like he was black.
We have 45 of them, and one happened to be black, so we good.
Right. So we good. So
one out of every 44. So we get one out of every 44. That proves that who would take that on? I'm gonna give you one out of every 44. Who will sign up for that?
Right. Freedom is
not even for a lotto scratch.
It took us 44 presidents. Here's that word again: integrate. It took us 44 presidents to integrate it, and only God knows when we're gonna get back to it.
44 and hundreds of years. Forget about the 44. Let's talk about the hundreds of years.
Right.
That's even more. That's even more powerful. It took hundreds of years from freaking George Washington, who your great parents. It took that, that is the part that is just baffling and troublesome when we think about the fact that we're in 2020.
I saw something the other day that blew my mind. That, and I'm hoping it's accurate, that Ruby Bridges is only 66 years old.
Yes.
That kind of puts it into context for us that
still alive.
She's only 66 years old.
She was 6 when all that happened.
Right, and she integrated the school system.
Wow.
That was only 60 years ago. My grandma is in her 80s. She's still alive, right?
Right.
She was of age enough to have understood what was going on there.
Right.
That was only 60 years ago. And people will try to convince you that, we're well beyond those years of oppression.
No,
we're not. We're not as far as you
not even close.
We're maybe one generation. Maybe one. I mean, Martin Luther King could still be alive. He'll be in his 90s, but he could still be alive.
Right. And the problem,
they try to make it seem like this stuff was 200 years ago.
Right. And the issue is, there are a lot of people in the white community who are ignorant to history. They only know parts of history, the parts that, that celebrate them. The only parts that celebrate, but they are ignorant to history. And because they don't know history, they think this stuff happened hundreds of years ago.
Right.
Some of them need to pick up a book and read.
And here's how, to take this even further, here's how deeply rooted. Somebody got death threats. A major public figure decided he wanted to support some black folks, and now he's getting death threats. Mr. Nick Saban.
Oh, yeah. We should have knew that was coming in Alabama.
Right. Nick Saban, national championship, the guard of Alabama, the highest paid state employee in Alabama, decides that he wanted to support his black players, and all of a sudden, there's a little rumbling that Nick may have to go.
He gonna get paid.
All because he decided he wanted to march with his black players.
Yeah.
I hope he go.
Nick,
again, in Alabama, you could get away with anything except supporting some black people.
And it's interesting because Alabama, the poorest state, one of the poorest states in the union, would not be Alabama if it weren't for these black boys.
Absolutely.
Come on now.
For these black players who they tout. They love them. They love the Jalen Hurts. They love the Amari Cooper. They love them. They love all the black running backs that have been through there. Love them. When they're winning them championships, making them money. But when it comes to supporting them, can't do that. You're going too far, Nick. You're going too far. Let them run for us. Let them catch the ball. Let them get tackled. Let them do all that. But when you talk about supporting them, Nick, you got to go, brother. That alone lets us know that all of the smoke that they blowing up us, talking about, we doing well and all that good stuff. It's pointless, man. It's pointless. Brandon's got to head out. We got one more topic or so to cover. Brandon, what you got something to say as you head out?
So it was good to be back on tonight. Good to be back on tonight. Missed it. Some great topics. I want to encourage people to read. Educate yourself. Black people and white people. Know what has happened in this country, man. Sometime if you know history, you'll understand the present a little bit more. So read, man, and vote, please. We know
read your ballot.
We know what we got to do. This guy we got to get this guy out. All right. I'll leave on that note. Good night, y'all.
All right, man. Be safe out there on the streets, man. Speaking of voting, glad he brought that up as we go to our last topic. Speaking of voting, Nikisha, Kim, we talked about, not last week, show before last, we talked about, mail-in ballot versus absentee ballot. We talked about that being eerily similar. But the other day, somebody had a little press conference and said, maybe we can test the waters a little bit when it comes to voting. I want you to hear this.
600,000 people could vote by absentee in this state. Are you confident in that system?
Well, they'll go out and they'll vote, and they're going to have to go and check their vote by going to the poll and voting that way, because if it tabulates, then they won't be able to do that. So let them send it in and let them go vote. And if their system's as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote. If it isn't tabulated, they'll be able to vote. So that's the way it is. And that's what they should do. I don't like the idea of these unsolicited votes. I never did. It leads to a lot of problems. They've got 11 problems already on very small contests, so I'm not happy about it. At the same time, we're in court on a lot of it. We're going to see if it can be stopped. But send in your ballots, send them in strong, whether it's solicited or unsolicited. The absentees are fine. We have to work to get them. It means something. And you send them in, but you go to vote. And if they haven't counted it, you can vote. So that's the way I view it.
So, guys, I got a strategy. I know how we can get buying in. What we do is we go, Kim, we got to do this. We go and mail in our ballot. And then on election day, we go and try to vote again. And guess what? If we don't get caught,
we going to jail.
We're good. No, we good.
We going to jail.
We good. We good. We should try. You know
I'm
what?
I'm going to show up at my arraignment and play that interview and say the president told me. I'm going to see how well that worked for me. I'm going to see how well that worked for me. I'm going to just make sure I do it in Palm Beach.
Now for doing that.
I'm going to just make sure I do it in Palm Beach, where it's probably going to be happening at
Nikisha, let me tell you how to come up on your kid. You go, you put on your ski mask, you wear your mask, and you rob the bank. And guess what? If they don't catch you, you get to keep the money.
Yeah, but the problem is they gonna catch me.
So
man, hurry up and end this show before I say something that's really gonna get us kicked off.
Don't say it.
I can't.
So
yeah, come on, Pastor, let's go.
Number 9.
With this topic.
I just wanna listen. It's just my job to bring. This is what happened this week, y'all. It's a lot going on. So he's in North Carolina. The place where he just had his convention. And he said, "Let's test the waters a little bit. Let's see if the system that you're over as the president now, we gonna test it. I think y'all should test the waters."
First of all, he's banking on this kind to try that little stupid con. Because the minute this kind try that stupid con, you already know what's going to happen. And he going to do what he normally say is the man never said it, okay? It ain't going to be no proof that he said it. He ain't gonna say, he gonna dismiss it. He not gonna be on TV telling people, for me, it's good people on both sides. If one of this kind go do it, you best believe that. Okay? It was a horrible idea. That's like when he told the people to drink the bleach. Okay? He ain't owned up to that yet.
I didn't mean it.
He didn't own up to that yet. This man, I have been saying all night, when people show you who they are, believe it. This man speak for his own benefit. Okay? So chances are with narcissists and people like that, if they mouth open, they lying. If they mouth open, they not saying nothing credible. So at the point he stood in front of that reporter and opened his mouth, you might as well start turning the TV, okay? Because this man has nothing to say that's going to benefit any of us. And if you don't believe that, then I got some policies I want to sell you.
That's right.
But you know, like you said, Kim, if me and you wanted to do that for old Joe, you know, we'll be serving life. We'll be serving life for voter fraud, mail fraud. You know, mail fraud is a federal offense. That's a felony. But I said all that to say, you know, the attorney general, you know, the head lawyer of the country, you know, he supposed to kind of know the rules about this stuff. You know, he supposed to try to prosecute people who do this kind of stuff. But listen to this.
And then let them go vote. And if the system is as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote. It sounds like he's encouraging people to break the law and try to vote twice.
Well, I don't know exactly what he was saying, but it seems to me what he's saying is he's trying to make the point that the ability to monitor this system is not good. And if it was so good, if you tried to vote a second time, you would be caught if you voted in person.
That would be illegal if they did that. If somebody mailed in a ballot and then actually showed up to vote in person, that would be illegal.
I don't know what the law in the particular state says.
You can't vote twice.
Well, I don't know what the law in the particular state says and when that vote becomes final.
Is there any state that says you can vote twice?
Well, there's some, you know, maybe that you can change your vote up to a particular time. I don't know what the law is, so I'm not going to offer.
He was saying test the system.
You know, well, if you know what he's saying, why are you asking me what he's saying?
He doesn't believe in the mail-in voting. You're the Attorney General of the United States.
Why does you? Yeah.
You know, he said if you expand.
So, let me just say this. I'm gonna just say this. The hamburger helper sat up there and he started off. This is what they kind do, okay? He started off by saying,
Lord, you can't say they.
The hamburger helper sat up there and said, okay, he started off by saying what most of them say. I don't know what he was trying to say. But then you go in to say everything that you really know he was trying to say. Because you believe that foolishness. You really believe that foolishness. But you say you make that statement because just like number 9, you don't want nobody to hold you accountable for what you really want to say. But you really want to go ahead and say it. You understand what I'm saying? That's why they can never be on the Keep It Real ministry with me. They just won't survive because you say what you want to say. What you sitting there like they know they lying. Everything they say is a lie, but they don't want to be portrayed as a liar by opening their mouth and saying the lies that they really believe. So they go ahead and give all these disclaimers. I don't know what he was trying. Then you gonna tell the man, well, if you know what he was saying, then why you asking me? And when the man said you are the Attorney General, he talking about like that's news to him. Like that's news to him. Because he realized he just qualified to do that job as Trump in his diploma or lack of.
Ridiculous. They're going to have some people go to jail. I promise. I know
he's not the Attorney General of Utah. He's the Attorney General of the United States of America. He is
the one that refused to testify.
Right. He is responsible for governing the laws of the United States. This is the man that's supposed to oversee these police departments and federal police brutality. He's the person that's supposed to, if Trump or the president steps out of line, he's the one that's supposed to be able to. This is the Attorney General who said out of his own mouth he doesn't know what the law for that state is. What damn? I mean, oh God, forget. What state?
The problem
are you allowed to vote twice? What? Tell me what state so I could go there and become a citizen for a few months. Because I'm trying to figure out what state that's allowed. Like, I don't understand. They will
But he's telling the truth. He does not know the law. The problem is if they was to sit there and be talking about a gun law and it was in favor of one of us, he'll be able to tell you every gun law it is, no matter what state, because that's what moved them. That's what interests them. And again, when Trump said that statement, he already know his kind ain't finna do nothing that dumb.
Right.
He talking to somebody that's like, oh, he said, and they won't even, if one of they kind did it, they won't even own up to that person doing it.
No. His kind not gonna do it. His kind economically not gonna do it. You know who gonna do it? The one with the chip tooth.
Yes.
The one.
That's his kind.
No, that's not his. The
That's
one with the chip tooth. The one, you know, the one that's on the welfare that they try to say we own. The ones that you know live with all the other trailers.
The cut up shorts that's really not brought to be meant to be cut up. That kind.
Right, the ones that work at the youth fair, those gonna be the people that do it, and he's not gonna defend them for doing it, but he'll let them try. It's another dog whistle. It's a dog whistle. Y'all gonna try. If it work, man, that's 2 votes for me. That's how I look at it. If not, then man, I'm sorry, man. You know, we can't help you.
Absolutely, but what he's trying.
Go ahead, Nikisha. Go ahead.
I feel like what he's
that kind right there
trying to convince is that he feel like if he doesn't win and he's pushing all of this foolishness out in the media, his thing is if the Democrats win, they stole the election. So you tell everybody to go do these 2 votes. So that's the only way he's gonna win. So he's playing, everybody's playing right into his hand as to what he wants you to believe. So y'all better be careful, but don't go vote twice. Oh Jesus, don't do it.
It's interesting that he's the president of the United States. He's in the middle of a pandemic. He's already acknowledged he downplayed the pandemic. He's not trying to do anything to erase the fact that he downplayed the pandemic. He's not trying to do anything to show that he's moving with trying to just make the pandemic go away. He's showing more interest in trying to put corruption on voting than anything else. That's more of where his heart is. Again, people, I can't say enough. When somebody show you who they are, you better believe it. You better believe it. You can look around for cats for the ghosts all you want. They showing you who they are. Believe it. That cannot be said enough.
I do believe we're going to have a big issue with voting this year.
You believe or you know?
I know.
Okay. Because I know it. I know that I know that I know. I know it like I know who I know.
I know we are going to have an issue.
Thank you.
With them setting up different boxes because of the U.S. mail, the ballots, the actual going into.
I'm thinking about trying it, man. I'm thinking about trying it.
By Thanksgiving we'll know who the president gonna be. I believe by Thanksgiving we'll know who the president. I'm just telling you, one of them turkeys gonna get roasted by Thanksgiving. That's what I believe.
I think they're going to prolong it.
He ain't going to let it go that long because it's the law that say if it go past a certain time, then the Speaker of the House, which is Pelosi, he ain't going to go that far. He ain't going to let it go that far, but he going to push it to the late in the midnight hour. That's when he going to push that thing.
Yeah, it's going to be
only thing I made, and we done. It's a 90-minute show. We gotta leave early.
But I don't know why you acting surprised about these people that don't know their job in his administration. I haven't met a person that know their job yet. I mean, I've been keep telling you these people don't know their job. Why you that man like, here you go calling me that title again. He don't know that's his. He don't understand what that title really is. Like the surgeon with the house, and he don't know what that is.
Kim has every time that he aligns himself with people that's like him.
No.
So all of his crew don't have no education. Everything is.
But what's the salary to play stupid? That's all. I'm almost willing to sign up for that. I want to know what's the salary.
How much where you gonna live? And where you gonna live? Where are you gonna live?
If it's good enough, I live anywhere. It don't matter.
Not here.
Because I want to know what the salary is, because these people are not stupid, but they will lie for this brother. They will play stupid. They
Listen,
will play
okay?
stupid on national television by saying, I don't know all the laws. I don't need it, but I know that there can't be a law in any state to suggest that you can.
Listen,
What attorney
some
general
things,
and what president would tell
some
you to test
things,
the law? Go try it. See if you get caught. Go ahead and try it.
some
You know,
things
who
money
does
just
that?
can't buy. So it really doesn't matter about a salary. It's about integrity. And you often say you pride yourself on being a person of integrity and character. So that is not an option for
I
you
may try to take one
to
for the
play
team to
stupid.
get him out.
Okay?
Yeah, I might try to take one for the team to get him out of there, man.
Sorry.
But I'm right with you, Pastor. I don't understand how all of the people, the speaker, the person that come is always buffered down. If he say Biden is retarded and other people get offended, oh, that's not what he meant. He was joking. I'm like, he's always so offensive. So how do you? And I don't get that. I've never understood. If Pastor, you all right?
And then this is the same man.
I need a call.
Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Hold your hands up.
Because you rub it off. You rub it off on this girl. You are rubbing off virtually on. I can't do this.
Pastor, you got to keep coming. Put your hands up.
I'm going to quit this show. I can't do it. Because I know,
but listen,
I know that people going to be knocking on my door pretty soon. And I know, messing with y'all.
This is the same man that could ditch it but can't take it. He cried and talk about they like Fauci more than me. And he say dumb stuff as the president that they do this because they don't like me. And like it's a friendship circle or something and nobody won't let him in.
It's
all right, man. We gonna end it real light, man. We got to end it light. We've been hot even, and now Nikisha's starting to get hot. We can't get that hot on this show.
I'm cool as a cucumber.
I know that's right. I'm good.
Oh God, Lord have mercy. It has been. So Nikisha, who you gonna keep up with now? You know the Kardashians, they saying goodbye. They can't take it no more. So so tell me who you keeping up with. I want to know who my wife gonna keep up with now.
With Patti LaBelle.
That's who you go. Because my wife. She been all in that show, all these ladies. And so, do you think that now that Kanye really crazy, they don't want his craziness to come out, so they just gonna quit the show? They're like, we can't do this. Everybody wants to.
I don't know.
Oh God! Well, the bishop watches it. She been keeping up with him for a while.
Good night, everybody.
Well, can we talk about Patti LaBelle and Gladys Knight Sunday?
That's this Sunday.
Yeah.
Who you got?
I got Patti.
You got Patti? Patti and who she going with?
Gladys Knight.
Oh, Gladys Knight. Oh, Gladys Knight. That was your daddy girl, one in Kimberly. Who you going with, Gladys?
No, that was Les Brown's girl.
What?
Gladys Knight was Les Brown girl. Don't tell me people that was my daddy girl. That was Les Brown girl.
I'm with Patti. Who you got?
That was your daddy girl. So who you got, Bishop? Who you got?
I got Patti.
Somebody.
You got Patti?
Only you.
Who I got? I got Patti Pies. Patti Pies.
Don't do that. Please don't do that no more. Good night. You love Overboard now. Good night.
Oh, God. Like Trump when he picked at the people. So yeah.
Love Overboard, Pastor. Good night.
So Granny got Gladys. I got Patti.
Gladys.
I wish they would sing though. Like, they would do better just actually singing versus playing the is it CD, album, record? I don't know what you call this stuff. No, I feel old like playing the album. Well, they had albums, so I guess So that's Sunday. What time Sunday?
8 p.m.
Okay, we gon' so next week we gonna kick off the show figuring out who won, Gladys or Patty. Well, guys, that's been our show.
If Gladys want to win, she got to bring the pips. It ain't gonna be no win for her.
Guys, we have talked about a lot. These women are getting off the chain. Yeah, Brandon, they started acting the fool as soon as you logged off. Nikisha got the Kim spirit, and as soon as she talked about oh God. Anyway, guys, that's been fun. Like, share this. Let somebody know they need to go back and watch this. All this stuff just happened this week. So, we don't try to be a political show. We just talk about anything that's hot. And a couple of things we didn't get a chance to talk about, so we'll hit on that next week. Love you guys. You know the motto. If it's hot, we got to touch it. Until then, we'll see y'all next time. Peace out. We're out of here. See you later. Peace.